Hello everybody, welcome to episode 2 of Course Design 201. Now in this episode we're going to take a look at bunkers. Now I talked about bunkers in my 101 series. I showed you how I do bunkers. I've learned a couple new methods that I kind of want to show you guys. Again, these are kind of just, my experience with them. Some people do bunkers differently and produce excellent results. I'm just kind of showing you the way I do them. This isn't necessarily the right way you must do bunkers. So just remember that. But I find these ways to be quite successful. So I very quickly just threw down a green, and I've thrown down 3 different kinds of bunkers. I've thrown down kind of just your basic shape bunker. I've thrown down one of the kind of funky bunkers with the interesting shapes. And I've thrown down 3 kind of those old shapes put together. Now, I handle these a little bit differently, each one. So let's start with this guy here. Now, I'm going to show you a bit different method than I showed you in the first series. Now, most people think, okay, well, I want to lower a bunker. I should probably use raise, right? Well, no. Flatten seems to give much better results. I'll just show you here. So when you've just got one simple shape, it's really easy. Okay, just take that shape, line it up as best you can. I try to make it a little bit smaller. Actually, I try to make it about the same size. It doesn't really matter here. We're going to fix it here in a sec. Now, and then I'm going to start dropping it down. Now, honestly, for green side bunkers, I go down, 3 or 4. And I'm going to press A. And, yeah, that kind of lowers it just a little bit. And I'm going to kind of just make it a little bit smaller in the middle. And drop it down a little bit more, just to give it a little bit more depth. And now you've got a bunker. Now, that's only about half done. We haven't done anything with the areas surrounding the bunker. Right now, that's a pretty flat bunker. Now, if we had an approach shot coming in here, I want to be able to see a little bit more of this. So I'm going to start raising the lips of the bunkers up just a little bit. And for that, I use these 2 tools here. These 2 brushes are my favorite brushes in the game. Okay, I do almost everything with these. So what I'm going to do is I'm just kind of going to make it a little bit bigger, raise it up about 4 inches, and now I'm going to go all around the bunker. So I'm just going to hold down A, and in parts where I think it needs raising, I'm just going to raise the bunker up. Doesn't look like much is getting done here, but it just gives it a bit of a cleaner look. Okay, so I'm going to go around there. So, if I want to make it a little bit higher in areas, I'm just going to use this tool. So let's say I wanted to make that edge a little bit higher. So just using that round brush. Same thing with this. I would be doing the same thing. So same tool as you used. Line it up as much as you can. Drop it 3 inches or so. And make it a little bit smaller. Drop it down a little bit more. But that's up to you, what you want to do. That's pretty steep, but we'll go with that for now. And then again, same thing with creating the edges. So we're going to use the round brush again. And, I vary my heights. So I'm just kind of going to go around and just lift up. I try to lift up these areas a little bit more. But again, totally up to you. And, there. Personally, I would probably lower that one a little bit. That one's a bit deep, I think, but it depends what kind of course you're looking at. This is a Highlands theme, so maybe you want some deeper bunkers. I personally wouldn't use these kind of bunkers for a Highlands course, but ultimately, you do whatever you want. It's your course. I'm just kind of giving you tips on how to do these certain things. Alright, so there's the bunker there. Now let's go to this one. I just threw some shapes together. Now it's a little bit harder to do that method, just picking the shape and lining them up when you have like composite shapes. So with that, I kind of like to go back to my old method, just using the round brush, make it fairly small, go down 2 or 3 inches, hold down that A button, or whatever the A button would be on PlayStation, or whatever you use, and I go around the whole bunker. Okay, let's see what I've missed. Missed a few spots here. This is not the most accurate method, because you really got to fix up some spots. But it still works. It still holds up pretty well. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go around. Okay. So that's kind of a new technique with bunkering, those first two. So you can turn, you don't really want those just flat bunkers. That's just kind of a sign of lazy course design if you're just plopping bunkers down and not doing anything with them. So, for example, you know, do you want a bunker that looks like that, or do you want a bunker that just looks like this? I don't know about you, but I think this first one looks a lot nicer than that one. Okay. Another thing I also recommend when dealing with bunkers, flatten the area you're going to use first. You can always, you know, change the angle and sculpt around it after, but I usually, almost always, try to flatten the area as much as I can. Alright, so that is bunkering. I'm going to talk a little bit more about bunkering in a bit later episode once we start getting to fairways and fairway bunkers. But for now, that's kind of some other bunkering techniques.